Sewer Crawl is an indie horror walking simulator made by this person called V1To. Next time, I'm going to use Vito instead because I'm not going to say 1 every time. In the middle of the night, your boss called you to fix some broken pipe in an abandoned sewers. Very relatable. You head to the abandoned sewer and got greeted with these very welcoming posters that doesn't indicate the danger of this place at all. With no worries, you head down inside of the sewers and try to navigate this place with the map that is provided for you in this room. You can clearly tell on this footage of my second playthrough that I'm really paying close attention, and I even took a screenshot of this map. This is something that I didn't do on my first playthrough, which turned this game from a 20 minutes indie horror game into a 40 minutes main. With the information of that map burned inside of your brain, you navigate deeper inside of the sewers to finally fix the broken pipe and leave. Unfortunately, for the remainder of the life of this pipe technician, he will be dealing with this abomination and meeting the same fate as these people on the posters. I think the scariest horror games are the ones that can properly build up fear and anxiety inside of the player's head. Problem is, most horror games are too reliant on jump scares to scare the player. Jump scares are necessary, it is the main climax of the experience, but if one were to butcher the build up to the climax, then the only effect that it left to the player is a minor shock or annoyance. Obviously, during my second playthrough of this game, I already know when and where the jump scare would happen, yet it still scared me. This is because the build-up of this game is really good and genuinely terrifying. To be more specific, the aspect that made the build-up so terrifying is the subtlety. Vito nailed this aspect. Right at the start of the game, when you found the key to unlock the sewers, you hear this sound. And then, when you finally enter the sewer, at some point, you'll reach this area that is somewhat flooded with water. You pass through the obstacle and see these body parts. The pipe technician thought that it is probably just some kind of movie set or a prank set up by someone. But then, as you still process this scene, you hear this sound. The moment I heard that sound for the first time, I paused the game and mentally prepared myself to whatever is lurking outside of this room. Fortunately, there was nothing here. This is the trick that Vito used throughout the entirety of the game, giving you an uncomfortable feeling that there is something that follows you throughout your fun adventure in the sewer, or at the very start of the game, the moment you reach the perimeter of the sewer. The only real obstacle that the player needs to overcome is retrieving the items that are needed to venture deeper in the sewer, and also avoid getting lost in the sewer if you're an idiot like me. The jump scare will happen, but the little scares along the way will go on for an agonizingly long time, to the point where you can't pinpoint the moment when it will happen. At some point, you'll reach a point where the monster actually showed up. Yes, you're not schizophrenic, those sounds weren't in your head. It is much worse. The monster behaves in a sort of event kind of logic. There is probably no pathfinding logic that was implemented in this game, which is kind of a disappointment, but the lack of pathfinding should make you realize what really matters in a horror game, ensuring that the players are immersed in the horror. You can implement all sorts of mechanics and algorithms to the horror game, but if the game failed to make the players feel immersed in the horror, then it fundamentally fails. Interestingly enough, as proven by this game, something as simple as subtlety works just fine. As you try to escape the sewer, all of a sudden the layout of the sewer changed. The ladder to exit the sewer is gone, and a pathway that you previously can't access can now be explored. At the very end of the game, you'll encounter this hallway that looks pretty out of place compared to the rest of the sewers. You have no choice but to enter it. This final segment, in a way, can represent the entirety of the game's horror design. You know a jump scare will definitely happen. You have no choice but to walk into the bait. You keep pressing on the W button, but the hallway just keeps going on for an uncomfortably long amount of time. At some point, the monster will be right in front of you, but nothing happens still. The W button can still be pressed, and you can still move forward, but then, finally, lights out. Creating a video game is really hard. The playtime of this game, if you play it for the first time, would probably take around 30 minutes. As I'm recording the footage of my second playthrough, it only took me around 13 minutes to beat this game. I think getting lost in the first playthrough and also paying attention to the map contributes to my unnecessary familiarity to the layout of the sewer. Countless hours were probably spent by Vito on the creation of this game to produce something that only has, less than an hour of playtime. I intentionally left out the story part of the game, which was presented by the environments. As far as I'm concerned, I think the story is left to be ambiguous enough to the players so they can fill in the gaps themselves. Go ahead and experience the game yourself. That's it for me. Thank you for watching.